So, I don't know if you guys realize this, but the first video I ever put on YouTube actually wasn't a Pixel video or an Android video in general. It was for the 2020 iPhone SE. And that was the first and only iPhone I reviewed on my channel. I enjoyed it, I had good things to say, but it was a budget version of the iPhone, and I really enjoyed it. So let's fast forward, and I had to try iOS again. Because as much as I love Android, I do get a little bored. Being in the same ecosystem for so long, you really do feel like you're missing out. So let's call that a little bit of FOMO, and what that FOMO has done, including some other necessities that I needed a new phone or a new phone number, I got the iPhone 17 Pro right here. Now, I was actually arguing with myself if I wanted to go with the 17 Air, the iPhone Air or the Pro. And the base model was the most mature choice to make. It actually is the best value for an iPhone and what most people actually need. The Air is something for people who really want a piece of jewelry or something stylish. You buy that phone for the vibes. It's a good phone, you can still last a day with the battery on moderate to light use. But for me, as the person I am, I needed something a little more pro. And while I was reviewing my Pixel 10 Pro XL, I kept questioning myself and thinking to myself, what makes it pro? And what type of professional uses this device? And that's why the iPhone really appealed to me, because I think Apple nailed the concept of a pro phone. And they did one thing in particular that made it a success in my eyes. They know exactly which type of pro they're going for, and that is the content creator. So this is about my first week to the day with the iPhone 17 Pro, and I got some thoughts, so let's dive in. Now, we all know this is the boring part. I gotta read off the specs for the nerds in the videos that wanna see exactly what this offers. And that is a 6.3-inch Super Retina XDR display, which is fantastic, looks great. But it also comes with ProMotion at 120 Hz LTPO, which means it's gonna be able to go all the way down to 1 Hz or up to 120. Now, scrolling a lot of apps, you'll see it kind of sit around 60, but certain games and other apps that really can take advantage of the higher refresh rate, you'll notice they're gonna be buttery smooth. This also now comes with 12 gigs of RAM. It has an all aluminum chassis, which I absolutely love because it reminds me of Android phones from the past. And it still has their ceramic shield too on the front and the back. This new ceramic shield also does block out a bit of glare. Now, it's not gonna be Galaxy S25 Ultra level. Not even close really, but it does a really good job, especially when you add in the fact that it has 3000 nits of brightness. That combination means even when you're outside, it's gonna do very well. Now, you remember, I haven't used iOS for a long time, but a lot of people I hear complain about this dimming because it overheats, and I think that aluminum body really helps with that. So we're gonna dive into that later, but let's jump into the main stuff that I love to talk about. First and foremost, the design. So one thing Apple did that I think is really cool is every different iPhone they have has a distinct look and feel. The base model was your base model iPhone, the one that the average person, soccer mom, gamer, just dude in high school, dude in college, whatever, the average person is going to be able to gravitate towards, and it's not gonna look so crazy or so out there. Then you have the Air, which looks like a piece of jewelry. It's showing off how well they can make it as a phone designed. I think it's the best looking phone, and I might be biased because it kind of looks like a Pixel from the back. So maybe I'm just really that biased against Pixels. But then this guy. Now, I understand this can be controversial to some or divisive, but I think that for a pro level device, this is amazing. You know I love a utilitarian look, and this nails it. Now, I thought about getting the orange, but I had a feeling I was just gonna get bored with it. It's a little bit too much too often, in my personal opinion. I like the silver, but that white backplate just didn't sit right with me. So the blue looked the closest to black that I could get, and it really does look fine, even when I slap a case on it. But what I love about this is even though it's a 6.3-inch display, it feels smaller in the hand than, let's say, a Pixel 10. It's shorter, I would say for sure. It is a little heavy, a little hefty, but it's nothing that you're gonna struggle with at all. Maybe the Pro Max would be a little unwieldy, but on the base model Pro, I think it's fantastic. And it did take a while for this camera plateau to grow on me. I just thought they were copying off of Pixel, but they did put tech in there, which I think is very smart, which increased the battery size. But more about the build, right? This thing looks beautiful. I've always thought iPhones look beautiful, and it's very well made. It looks like a single piece of aluminum. It feels sturdy. I haven't dropped it yet, and I'm a little nervous, so I do have a case on it most days. I'm not as brave with this as I am with my Pixels, not yet at least. And this little two-tone graphic here, which does remind me of like the Pixel 3. Yeah, there's a lot of Pixel comparisons, it's crazy. The bezels are very small, and that's another reason why, despite this being a 6.3-inch screen, it feels smaller and more easy to hold than a Pixel 10 or Pixel 10 Pro. Now the front screen is gorgeous, very sharp, very clean. I love the color calibration. And like I said, it is that ceramic shield too that offers a bit of anti-reflective protection. So when I'm out in sunny Florida, I don't have to worry about, not being able to see my phone, or when I have all my studio lights on the display while I'm filming. Fantastic. I give it an A+ personally. Now you still get the traditional 3-camera triangle, and it's fine. I don't know what else they can do. It just looks like an iPhone. And that's very good because you need it to be distinct. You need it to stand out, especially when you have this bar that does look pixelish. To make sure you keep the triangular design, still gives it its own identity. And let's get back to that screen. Once again, this screen is beautiful. It is snappy. It is fast. It has about 460 ppi, so pretty dense pixel density. It's sharp, clean, especially on the smaller screen. That's the beauty of these smaller screens. When it's such a high resolution, it just looks that much better. But all in all, there's no complaints. It's been really smooth and really bright and just a joy to use. In general, having a smaller phone again has been a joy to use. But that's not all that this Apple does. You also got to think about the performance, because the A19 chip that powers this bad boy is nothing to joke about. Now, here's another aspect that I felt the Pixel 10 Pro XL kinda skimped on when it calls itself a Pro, because this has more power than 99% of people are going to use. Now don't get me wrong, yes, it's very powerful. I personally don't really notice in everyday use a big difference between this and my weaker Pixel 10 Pro XL. I don't notice even much when I'm gaming. A lot of the settings for certain games to get the frame rates I want have to be put to the same level. That's just where the game sets them. There are some games that do run much better. Destiny on the iPhone runs amazingly. It is smooth and it just looks very good. It looks like it was optimized and made specifically for the A19 chip. Call of Duty plays just as well as it does on my other devices. Delta Force definitely handles the extra bit of power that you get in this, the same way my OnePlus 13 handles the extra bit of power. But once again, you are limited by certain restraints in the settings of those games. I think for me, the biggest time I noticed the performance is in the Pro features. This is gonna be a theme for my upcoming Pixel full review, just giving you a heads up. So one reason why I think this nails the whole Pro moniker based on its performance is this is designed for creators in mind. You can do so much with the camera, shooting in log, shooting open gate, ProRes. It's a bunch of pro level features that you get that leak into the camera part of this review as well, which is why it's an amazing camera. But you gotta remember, raw power allows these things to happen. And that's where I feel like the Pixel is missing on. They don't even try to add log footage in a Pixel, you got it here. They don't even try to shoot ProRes or anything of that nature. They don't even have the proper tools. They have some proper tools in the Pixel, but this has everything. If I strap a portable SSD on this, I can shoot OpenGate, which with the latest Sony camera can't even do that. They focused on making this for professionals, but what they nailed was picking the professional they wanted it to be for, and that is content creators. The benefit of that is when you put all the power and gear that a content creator needs into a phone, you get a great all-around device. So the performance, I love it. Even the charging speeds have been improved with the latest A19 chip. It charges faster than the previous years. Still nothing to write home about, but this is a smaller phone, so it does feel like it's charging faster when compared to the Pro Max or anything like that. But let's go back to the cameras, because that's the reason why I jumped for the Pro. I know I needed a new phone. I needed a new number for my real estate, but I could have settled for the Air or the base model 17. This camera on the Pro Series phones is so versatile. You have 48 megapixels throughout all three cameras, some of the smoothest video I've seen, makes Samsung and Google look like amateurs in the video department. But not just that, you get to create and edit like any of us should, any content creator should. I can shoot in log, which I will be doing when my MagSafe SSD comes in, so you can edit it and get full control over how your videos come out. You can shoot raw images straight out the camera, 48 megapixels in raw format, and they are so fun to edit in Lightroom because you have so much room. I played around with editing even just the log footage, and the amount I was able to change was great. I've seen people shoot open gate, and when you slap it in DaVinci Resolve, you can change the ISO settings after the fact. You can do so much granular control with the cameras on an iPhone. It makes me jealous as a Pixel user. I can't front. But as a Pixel user, I do get the AI capabilities built into my camera, and those are really cool too. There are two different ways of going about cameras, and I think iPhone nailed the professional way better. Hopefully, in the future, Google can give us some of those abilities. But until now, this is the camera king when it comes to the all-around camera like bundle. Now, stills are kind of a tricky story because I really love how they look. In fact, I feel like they kind of softened the pictures up a bit so they don't look super processed, but I still love the way they come out on the Pixel, straight out the camera, no editing, just looks, it's such a pick up and shoot phone. This gets super close, especially because I took the time to build up my own color profile. You see in the camera app, you can change how you want every picture to come out. They have some presets, and then you can maneuver it yourself and change it yourself to the way you see fit. And with the preserve camera settings option, however I set it up the first time is how it stays. So whenever I pick this up and snap my pictures, for one instance, my pictures are always shot from an iPhone. Even on my Pixel, I do this too. I drop the exposure down to maybe down to 0.7 or even down to -1 because I feel like these phones brighten up images way too much to overcompensate for the smaller sensors. I did that once and don't have to think about it again. And I've been able to get some beautiful pictures that way that I really enjoy. That's a pro level feature, being able to control how the pictures come out after I take them and not have to change it every single day or adjust it every single day. I really do enjoy shooting on this phone. And the battery life on this is also pro level. This is a small phone and I make it through the day easy. I have killed it when I'm like addicted to Fallout Shelter again for some reason, and I've been playing the crap out of that, and that doesn't drain the battery too much. But if you see how much I play it, you'll realize I can kill any phone with how much I play that game. And this one still survives very well. I've done some light battery tests, using it for CarPlay, using it as I go to work, and just off and on. I use it as my main device for a couple of days, and I didn't think about the battery. I'm in the best setup now. I have a Pixel 10 Pro XL where I don't think about the battery because it just lives that long. And now even on the smaller device, I don't really think about the battery. I do have to charge this one more often. It is physically a smaller battery, but not drastically. Like I can make it through the whole day if I want to, if I stop playing Fallout. So after a week, I just gotta say, as somebody who prioritized and always preferred Pixels, I am shocked with how much I really like that. Now don't get me wrong, iOS does some stupid things. I hate the settings. I hate the settings being separate from the app. I hate some of the maneuverability in this. Why is there no universal back gesture? Like, come on. Annoying, but whatever. And just certain things that I thought were very hyped up, that I was willing to see if they were true, didn't really come to fruition. For instance, I always hear how much better apps are on iPhone than they are on Pixels or Android or Samsung or whatever. It's not that bad. It's not that big of a difference, honestly. Like, the camera, that's it. It utilizes the camera's APIs on those apps better than it does on an Android phone. But I'm so used to taking a picture and then uploading it that it doesn't really matter to me. But that's a small thing. Performance of those apps, functionality of those apps, it's usually very much one-to-one across the board. It's not that different. I will say certain apps run better, like Reddit doesn't stutter as much as it did on Android. I've had that happen on my Samsung and my Pixel. I think it even happened on my OnePlus. But on the iPhone, it was super smooth. I feel like that was overhyped. You know what I mean? And even though I did just give them the thumbs up for the extra power, I feel like we got so used to benchmark scores that we like overly hated on the Pixel 10 Pro XL. Because even though this is much stronger and in some ways noticeable, in everyday usage, they don't feel too different. Even in a lot of the games, they don't feel too different. I do like the fact that that extra power powers those pro features like ProRes log and stuff like that. That's where I feel it. But in everyday usage, not so much. But damn, I'm surprised how much I like the iPhone 17 Pro. I really wanted to get the Air, but I needed more cameras. I needed a pro level camera. But the size is amazing. It feels great to use. It feels comfortable to hold. I like a heavier device. It just feels that much more significant to me and that much more durable. So I'm not upset that this is a heavy for its size device. But all in all, it's been really great. I'm trying to learn a lot of tricks on it. Trying to learn more what to do with the shortcuts and the action button. Now I'm shocked. I actually use my camera button mostly to launch the camera app because you can't double press the power button like on Android. But even to snap pictures, it doesn't feel as uncomfortable as people made it out to be. Just adapt. Just change where your hands are. Stop being babies. But all in all, as someone coming from Pixel, as someone who is a genuine Pixel lover, this phone is fire. And I hope to hold on to it for like at least 3 years. I'm gonna try not to upgrade, but you know me, I'm bougie. And I'm very happy that I now have an official iPhone in my possession because I wanted to see if it could pull me away from Pixels. I'm not convinced that it can yet. I'm still enjoying my Pixel a bit more, but damn, this is close. Anyways, I know a lot of you are Android fans. Let me know what you guys think. Did the iPhone 17 Pro impress you this year? Do you have a little bit of that iPhone FOMO where you feel like you're missing out? Or did you pick one up? Let me know what color you got. Let me know what size and everything. I settled for 256 because I'm not going to do too much craziness. I have an SD card for all the videos. Let me know what you got. And once again, thanks for letting me talk about tech. I'll catch you next time. Peace.